Hi Tim, this is Brant. It's been 3 years I think since we were in Senegal with you, and I'm shipping some washers through Jason this week, so they'll be on their way to you shortly. But you had asked a couple times now if we could maybe share with you the process that I've gone through to make these washers a little more efficiently than when we were in Senegal. And so I thought I'd at least tell you, I don't know how many of these tools are going to be available to you there, but at least I'll show you what I've done here to help the process go more consistently and something possibly you could replicate over there. I do use a hole saw, which you had us use when we were there, but if you can see these real well, you can see the one on my right has got teeth on it, the one on my left does not. So I've customized the one on the left and just filed the teeth off of it, so it's more of a knife edge, and that makes a lot nicer cut through the rubber tire. So that's one thing that really has helped a lot, so we have a more even cut through the washer. Now the size that works best, based on the feedback I've gotten from you, is 1 1/16". I don't know if you can see that there, but that's what the size of this hole saw is, 1 inch, 1 1/16 inches in diameter. And so the other thing then that drives this, I use a 1/2 inch electric drill, and because it does drive pretty hard, and so I don't know that certainly battery power can work okay, but you're going to run your batteries down pretty fast. So I use the 1/2 inch electric drill, and I use about 1/4 inch or so of protrusion of the bit out through the hole saw. Now that doesn't make the size hole that you need for the rope, but at least it's a start, and you can't put bigger than an 1/8 inch bit in these hole saws, so that's as good as we can do. So I realize that you've got to go through the process of boring these out bigger, but anyway, that's what I use at this point to cut out the washers. Now the first thing that I do when I get a tire is I cut the sidewall out of it. Oh, before we get there, this hole saw needs to be sharpened occasionally, and you can do that one of two ways: with a rat tail file or this flat half round file. And I usually I've used this and I put it in the vise, and then I just turn this on, and then I sharpen the inside edge of the hole saw to keep it nice and sharp. Don't have to sharpen it very often, but occasionally it does help to keep that nice and sharp, so you can get through the tire more quickly without just making things so hot. So this type of file or this rat tail file could work. Either one of those can work. Okay. The tire I found that works best for probably thickness of the sidewall and maximizing the number of washers you can get out of sidewall is probably a 16 inch. I've used 15s and 16s and 17s. I try to stay away from 14s. There's just not enough sidewall height there to get as many cuts out of them. So I'm going to show you what I do to cut the sidewall out of the tire. And the reason I do that, then you can lay that flat and get a lot better, straighter, more round cut out of the washers. So I'll show here cutting the sidewall out of the tire. And to do that, I use a jigsaw blade that's a knife edge, not your typical jigsaw edge. And these may be hard to come by too. So you can see that's just a straight edge jigsaw blade, and it works really well for cutting out the sidewall. And I try to cut just below the tread line, and then save all the rest of this. So that's what we'll do now. once that's done, then I have a nice sidewall that I can cut washers out of. And it helps if you can lay that up on a 2x6 or something like that you can bore into to get this face fairly flat. And I know that wood comes at a premium in Senegal, so if you have it, it works nicely. If you don't, you're gonna have to find some surface that you can cut onto, but wood works really nice. And just try to get it as flat as you can, and then I just start boring, and I bore them as close as I can get them. So that's through, and now the next process is punching that out. And with that, for that process, I just use a T-handle Allen wrench, and then just poke it out through the slots in the in the hole saw. So, and it works pretty well. The uniformity is usually very consistent. Punch those out, and that's how it works. Now, out of this size tire, you keep cutting those around. I think this is the other side of that tire that I cut. You can see, I think there's 134 washers out of this one sidewall. So, and that's a 17-inch. So it's, you know, you get a lot of good use out of a 17-inch tire. 16s and 17s are about the best. So that's the process. Jason is bringing you about 540 or so of these. They're ready for you to bore the hole out a little bit bigger so you can get your rope through them. But that's what I do, and it works pretty well. And so I'll send you a link to this, and you can take a look at it. If you have any questions, please give me a response back on the email, and God bless you. It's fun to stay in touch with you this way, so let me know if you want me to keep doing them, or if you want to kind of move the process to where you are. Thanks, Tim. Love you. See ya. Bye.